Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are your comrades of cinema. Welcome to the podcast where three friends of over a decade get to know each other a little better through the media they consume. We talk about what we've been watching, talk about our film of the week, and we have a new segment. Chad, do you want to use the name that you gave it?
So when I proposed that name, I just thought it was like this week's name of the segment, not this segment name going forward.
Too bad. This the segment name, even if Brennan or I do it.
I called
Okay.
it live react. What do you guys want me to call it? What are you calling it?
Was it Chad wastes everyone's time or something like that?
Yes. And that, Brennan, that means if you or I try to do a live react, the segment is still called Chad Wastes Everyone's Time. Because Chad set the precedence. So it's
Because of Chad, we're doing this one again.
but yeah, so let's go ahead and start out with our media mashup. Today was my film of the week, so I'll go first. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna like sort of shotgun a few, but I'm gonna go a little quick. Because I watched a couple things that I would like to talk about. The first and the quickest is I still don't know quite how you pronounce it. It was called like Viy, spelled VIY. It's from 1967, and I watched it because the tagline is just the Soviet Union's first horror movie. And that caught my attention. I was interested, so I gave it a watch. And a lot of the reviews say the first hour is really boring, and then the last 20 minutes is fucking batshit. I disagree. I thought the whole thing was good. I liked it. I don't know what 67 is not that long ago, as far as like compared to
67 is a
movies.
weird time for movies because you think it's older and then you watch it and like this looks
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, that's my main thought throughout was like, wow, this looks good, and
Yeah,
like
it's
some
like-
of the
it's got a
effects
crisp,
are like
clean,
pretty
like
good.
it's like almost like the
Yeah.
height of sets and like right when colors like coming in, So it's very interesting. I felt the same when I watched like Cool Hand Luke and like The Great Escape. I was like, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this look.
Yeah, but it was good. I do my main point about this movie that I realized as it was finishing up. So the plot of this movie, it's like a bunch of young priests. They go out, they're lost, they have to stay at this house, and the person they're staying with ends up being a witch who tries to take one of the guys away, and he stops her and basically beats her to death. But right before she dies, she gives her last words to her father, and it's, I want this priest to come pray over me for 3 nights. That's like my only request. Make it happen, basically. So that priest who killed her comes back and has to spend 3 nights locked in a church with just her body, praying over her, and like she keeps trying to get to him through the night. And it was about the third night I realized this is fucking Five Nights at Freddy's. That's what the first Soviet horror movie is, just the plot of Five Nights at Freddy's, but you're in a church instead of a pizza place.
I'm not sure that's a proper order of how to describe that, but yeah.
No, it is.
God damn it, Soviets taking another one.
Yeah, but that was a quick one there. I also want to give a shout out. Lori and I saw I Love Boosters the other day, the sophomore film from Boots Riley, the guy who made Sorry to Bother You. This movie, it fucking rules, and not enough people are seeing it, and nobody's going to watch this video by the time it leaves theaters, so that's unfortunate. But even if you happen to stumble on this later, please find it on wherever it's streaming and give it a watch. It's insane. It's fun. It's so unique. I think Boots Riley is one of the most creative and interesting filmmakers around right now.
That's
I
the
said in
best
my
name
little
I've ever heard.
letterbox review, like if I were ever so lucky to work with a like major director, I would want it to be him. Despite there's some other people with much bigger legacies or like safer. I think the risks he takes and the things he does with movies is so unique and so crazy and works so well. And the messages he tries to give are so well told. And I am obsessed. I love it. I would love to see it again. It is really, really great. And then I'm sorry to keep, just throwing more and more, but there's one I really want to talk about at a little bit more length, which is we said goodbye to another show this week. A couple weeks ago, I said goodbye to The Boys. This time we say goodbye to Euphoria. a show that I think season 1 of Euphoria is a perfect season of TV. I think it is outstanding. I love the characters. I love the story. I think everything works great. Season 2 was not so great. And season 3, truly, this sentence gets, or this phrase gets thrown around a lot. I think this is one of the most clear examples of character assassination I have ever seen in a project. I have never seen a writer director so clearly. I keep referencing the Toy Story meme where Andy goes, "I don't want to play with you anymore," and drops Woody. He does that to like 5 characters who are essential to season 1. Jules, arguably like the second main character in the whole show, is in this final season for about 10 minutes total and does nothing. Kat gets dropped entirely. Nate, who, granted, Jacob Ellerby probably is just so busy that he couldn't give too much time to this show. His character is written to be a fucking moron. This character who is nothing but like so like careful and like everything is so planned out, and he's like manipulating, and he knows how to like twist every situation, turns into kind of like a bumbling idiot this whole season. It is ridiculous. The ending was it jumped the shark so much. I don't think if you told Coleman Domingo, "Hey, this script you're reading for an AA sponsor," it is this very grounded, emotional, like caring performance. It's going to end in a shootout with a pimp in a strip club using a golden pistol. I think he'd be like, "What the fuck happens between now and then? How do we get there?"
Not the arc you were expecting.
Yeah. I will say the final scene is beautiful and beautifully well done. But yeah, just I don't think this season was bad. It was just like it felt like a caricature of the show that I loved season 1 so much. So yeah, I didn't love this season. I didn't hate this season. I thought it was kind of bad in an entertaining way, to where like I didn't feel like I was wasting my time watching it. I am glad it's over, so he can't do any worse to these characters than he already did. But yeah, goodbye, Euphoria. You will be somewhat missed.
I didn't know this was their last season, and I knew this was a season where people were from. I don't watch it, but I see a lot of TikToks where people were like, "This one's an interesting one." So I thought you were going to say something like I thought when you said like saying goodbye to Euphoria because you didn't like it more.
No,
but
I will say that was how we felt at the end of most episodes. It was just like, huh, all right, okay.
So those are choices.
Yeah,
those are creative choices.
Yeah. But yeah, what about you guys? What have you been watching?
So this week I finally got around to watching. I actually watched it when I watched it. Was it last night or was it? No, it wasn't last night. It was the night before. I watched The Princess Bride. I have not seen it, and I'm surprised. I guess why I say surprised. I'm surprised because when I heard about it, I must have been in my late 20s. Like I was older. And when I heard about it, it was in reference to people being like, "Oh yeah, and the greatest film, one of the greatest films of all time, Princess Bride." I was like, "Huh? What? How?" I like it just was like I feel like I would have heard of it before, considered it was considered such a great movie. And when I first had heard it, I thought people were talking about The Princess Diaries, which is a classic Anne Hathaway film.
That's what I thought when you initially said you watched The Princess Bride. I was like,
exactly.
Nice, classic Princess of Geneva.
And I would have enjoyed that just as much. But no, I watched The Princess Bride, and I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed the comedy. It was like kind of a witty family comedy. You know, I'd say it's closer to a family film than anything. But at the same time, it's one where it's like really anyone kind of, like I said, anyone can enjoy it. You know, it's got, I think it's just got good comedy. I miss more practical sets and practical effects that this movie had, and I wish we could see more of that stuff. And you could just, I mean, you could tell because sometimes the place might look a little smaller or some things look a little off, but like I don't know, the vibe that it gives off, I think, more than makes up for it. I also have been seeing on TikTok. I've been seeing stories about Andre the Giant and the filming of it. And one of the things, and that kind of makes it interesting when you watch it, because first off, he's great in it, but it's got these. One of the things I watched was about how like he was actually kind of in so much pain, or he actually had a lot of physical issues, so he wasn't able to do any of the lifting. So when you know that, and then you watch the way they shoot it, it's like it's very interesting. Like when she jumps into his arms, like they really stylize her jump. Like there's really, it's like they shoot like she jumps from something. It's like 3 shots of her jumping, the shot of her being caught, and then the middle of that, it's like this shot of her like just like floating through the air, like kind of like like it's just like someone you wouldn't see anyone ever. You just wouldn't see them shoot like that. And then there was like in the beginning, like he's climbing a rope, and he's got everyone on his back and everything. You know, he's carrying them all up, and you can just see that he's like pulling himself up, and he's not using his feet at all. And it looks both in terms of like, if you know it's because it's just a harness that has to pull him up. Obviously, he's not gonna. Yeah. Not even that he could do it, but like it's not like he's going to even. He doesn't have the ability to do it. But also, I think it also shows maybe as the character, like, wow, how strong is he? That he literally just with his arms is pulling it up. But anyway, there's like a great line in that where he's like, I guess I have to find myself a new giant. But no, just a great enjoyable little film. I definitely would recommend it. I'm sure I'll be watching it again. And yeah, I think it'll be something I show people. I hope if I have a family one day, that would be something I show the children. And that was mine.
All right. So this week I started listening to a new to me podcast called The Rest is History. As you could probably tell, this is a podcast about history. And I just remember going through school and whatever, and like history was never my favorite subject.
Really?
I found it kind of boring. And but then I heard somebody else talking about why they loved history, and that history is taught wrong in schools, that they focus so much on like this person does this on this specific date, and it's you just have to memorize the people on this date do these things. And the important part is not that what day they did it on, it's that they did it, and the story of what led up to it, and the fallout of whatever action was taken. And this podcast is the best example of telling history through stories. I so I saw the podcast and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Then I saw that they were on episode like 675, and I was like, oh, this is kind of overwhelming. So I was like, oh, what do I want to listen to? What do I want to listen to? And the first thing I found was a short little series they do. So each like topic they do is maybe 1 to 3 episodes, and each episode's like an hour long. And so the first one I chose was the French Revolution. And not knowing when I started it that this is actually the 3rd time they've talked about the French Revolution. So we're about halfway through the French Revolution at this point. Like King Louis is locked up. There's a giant massacre. The September massacres are the starting point, which is about halfway through the revolution, and it doesn't end with the end of the revolution, because there's another part that they're going to do soon. But it was like, oh, like I instantly, they did a great job of providing enough backstory to understand what's happening, but like also I want to go back and listen to the other parts to get the full story. But yeah, they've done a bunch of different things. They did one on like I listened to one on the Vietnam War, and the story of the Mona Lisa, which is an insane story. They did a kind of mini series on Indiana Jones and the actual stories of the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail, which were fascinating. Yeah, those were a few of the ones that I've listened to, and I kind of, like I said, it's very intimidating. I'm like, okay, I need to just like, I wish that Spotify had like a playlist option, whereas like this is, the 9 episodes on the French Revolution, and
That would be really nice if they had a feature like that.
yeah, I trademark.
Where's AI got to do something useful?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just
So, Chad, what was your favorite subject then? If you didn't like history,
I was a math guy. I was math.
That's crazy.
That's insanity. I hated math, and I loved history.
Same. I loved
That's
history and
crazy.
English, and basically nothing else. Those were the two that I liked.
Let me tell you my thought on math. When I did not like multiple choice tests, because when I would do my problem, my math, and I looked at the answer, it was so far off from any of the 4 options that I was like, I can't. There's nothing I can do.
And they'd do the like, "We'll show your work," and I'd be like, "No, I think I'll just go ahead and pass on that."
Well, so I got just not to like brag, but I got a 5 on my AP Calc, and I got a 35 on my ACT in math. So,
well, 5's not a very big number from my knowledge of math.
That's 100% on the AP. So, yes, English and history were not
big.
Yes, they are. But yeah, I just that was never. And then I just was like, oh, this like I had previously heard of this podcast before, and that it was good. But I wanted to talk about the hosts because they're older British guys. They both are. One works for the they both work in at Oxford and Cambridge and like super PhD, like smart history guys. The one does have an unfortunate name, and the fact that his name is Tom Holland.
That's so funny.
And he's like a 65-year-old British guy.
That makes it so much better.
That's imagine his frustration. Of like, God.
Yeah, but he's like
I was the top Tom. He was the top Tom for a while.
Yeah, Tom Holland.
He was the Tom Holland. Well, yeah,
but
just Tom Holland.
They each kind of take turns telling the story of whatever history that they're doing. So Tom would tell the story of the Mona Lisa, but the whole time Dominic, the other host, knows the story and knows what's coming up. So he'll
and he knows he's lying.
So he'll like prime questions to keep the listener informed and like move the story along. And plus they're very British. Their humor is very British. They love making fun of the French, which makes the French Revolution episode even better. And you
had me at British.
I spent way too long. Yeah, I spent way too long listening to that over the weekend.
See, I always loved history because I loved the stories. I love being told a story, and I don't know where you guys went to Anchor Bay. I had Latona and I had Dot when I was at Anchor Bay. Those are two of my history teachers. So they were very good in terms of telling stories, and just Dot was especially good at telling stories. Latona had just a command, of the room.
Latona, I felt like I've never memorized stuff more than his class because of the way he would repeat every day. You got a recap,
and he'd be his notes were amazing. And then I remember him being like, "I'm going to write Hitler in red, so you guys know he's a bad guy." And I'm like, as if we're not going to get a bunch of examples on why he's a bad guy. But no, it was. That's why I always loved it. So yeah, when you're like, oh, we got these British historians, I'm like, I'm in because
Yeah.
the voice, everything. Also, like, a good voice, I can listen to anything.
They do like kind of make fun of voices sometimes, and even that's funny because it's like two British guys doing whatever. Like they do like a Churchill impression, and that's hilarious.
I'm going to
yeah,
send you in the group chat a YouTube link to another historian that I actually. He doesn't have like a consistent like podcast. It's more like post lectures every now and then, but good storyteller, interesting stories and perspective on things. I know if you enjoy, you might enjoy him. I'm gonna check out those guys too.
yeah, yeah. The rest is history. It's
Give me a
like
subscription.
they are. I'm not joking when I say that they are very popular. Like on Spotify, it tells you how many plays they get, like on their podcasts, like 800,000, 600,000.
They
It's
only
like
got 493,000 subscribers on YouTube, so they're just doing a little bit better than us, you know.
Yeah, and they've been doing it for a little while longer though. So it's like, are they really better than us, or have they just have a head start?
Yeah, I like to see where they were at week 20. You know, this far ahead, I think not.
One day we're gonna advertise. It's gonna like eventually we'll do it.
So
but for right now,
someone will find us. It's gonna happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we can't live under the rubble this long. Is that
that brings us to our next segment.
the new one?
Yes. Chad wastes everyone's time.
Which is back to back segments for Chad.
Yeah, great. Just what everybody wants to hear, me talking.
Oh,
Do people do?
No. Alrighty, so I think I've talked about this video before, the history of the entire world, I guess. There was another video I was debating, but there's other things I want you guys to experience before you watch that video. So maybe I'll have to force you guys to do some things in the future. But this is like about a 20-minute video. A couple of, I don't want to call them warnings, but like the start of the video is very strange, I would say, and once it gets going, it is very fast, like incredibly fast. So
I feel like I may have seen some of this guy before. When you started playing it, the style looks a little familiar.
yeah, there's a couple like memes and stuff of this video that are more prevalent, but so yeah, here we go.
Hi, you're on a rock, floating in space. Pretty cool, huh? Some of it's water. Fuck it. Actually, most of it's water. Let's invent a thing inventor, said the thing inventor after being invented by a thing inventor. That's pretty cool. By the way, where the hell are we?
Yeah. I every time I watch that video, I always find something new that I like am fascinated by, and it makes me laugh. And I don't know. What did you guys think?
I definitely there's a lot in there. I think I almost want to see. You almost wish everything was like you could click on. There was like almost a link to click and like, let's continue on this story.
Yeah. Throw up the Wikipedia link over each one of those segments.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. But
I like something that informs you while also being funny. And that was really good. The editing caught me off guard at the beginning. I have seen clips of this before, I realized. Never the whole thing. Yeah. I like that frantic style of editing where it's just jumping back and forth and doing all that weird stuff. And I like that there were some things where I was like, oh shit, I'd never even heard of that.
Yep.
And there were a couple I'm like, maybe I'm going to Google that later and maybe I'll find a history podcast.
Yeah. What I personally appreciate about it is that it's like not North American centric, like at all, which is fitting because besides the Mayan and Inca and those type of civilizations, there's not really much here, but all the interesting stuff happens in Europe and Africa and Asia. But yeah, I've probably that's probably, I don't know, the 15th time I watched it the last 3 weeks. So I don't know, I just really wanted to watch it again. So
Yeah.
I think some of the stuff they talk about in the video, the link I sent, that guy has some stories about, and where he goes into more detail and gives more context, like when he talks about like in Britain found oil in the Middle East, like he's got a whole bit about. I think it might even be in the one I sent you because he'll like talk about like, so let's talk about World War II, talk about World War II, we talk about World War One, talk about World War One, we'll talk about, and he starts going back like hundreds of years, like Jesus Christ, that's all connected. It is interesting to see how things, how everything is connected. Like I feel like in the last couple of years I've gotten into like kind of like more like into politics and just like watching like the different thing, how the different
monitoring the situation.
Monitoring the situation, how the different moves and decisions affect the situation as I monitor it. But yeah, no, I love some history. Like I said, because for me it's just someone telling me a story, and I'm always down to hear a good story.
So I guess with that, I would say, is there a point of this video or like a region of this that you guys are? Because like when I watched it, I was like, damn. I took one class. One of the most interesting classes I took in college was African history because I think it's the part that gets the least attention of any. Like, because you learn about like some of the phases China went through, and of course Europe, and definitely us and only us. But like even South America, you get some, like a little bit. But African history is one. In America, you only learn like, yeah, we stopped to pick some stuff up, and some people came with us, and then we were all happy. And that's like the most you learn about African history in like the American school system. And even just some of the little things they talked about in that video, I'm like, damn, I wanna like learn more about, like what they said. Ethiopia just made it out fine, like nothing happened to them, and I'm like, well, what were they doing that made them make it out fine?
yeah, the one that always sticks out to me is the king of Oman lives in Zanzibar now. And I'm like, well, why? Why did he go there? He's the king. Why? But so yeah, maybe I'll have to find something on that. But
Brennan, anyone one specific for you? You wanted more?
A story I always is that they brought up that I actually had heard about in a book that I had read, which was about Napoleon being banished to Elba and then returning. And the story, I'd love to go hear more about that story, because what I know of that story is like when he arrives in France or in Paris, and like the army, the French army meets him to capture him, as their orders. He basically says something like, about like, have you come to have you come to capture your king or something, whatever, and they like just they like all lay down their arms in front of him or something. There's something. It's an interesting story, but like just the idea that like they banished him to an island as his punishment, and he came back and took over for a small period of time. Again, it wasn't as successful, but like it was like just a brief, like like Jesus coming back for just a couple weeks. One last bender.
alrighty.
All right, I think.
Does that bring us to the film of the week?
It does bring us to the film of the week. This, of course, was my prompt. I don't remember exactly which prompt I gave. Sometimes I
It was about
added them a
I
little.
forget exactly, but it was
It's like a
roughly the
low
idea-
budget reboot that's better
low-
than it's.
low budget versus big budget.
Yeah, and how sometimes you can do more with less. Um, and that, of course, is Hellboy the Crooked Man. Um, Hellboy is a comic character I like quite a bit. I think he's very interesting. I think there's a lot you can do with the character. It's just, I'm not like the most well versed in Hellboy comics, but the ones I've read, I've pretty much enjoyed all of them. The Crooked Man being one of them. Though I will admit, there was part of me that after we, because my prompts got all messed up before we went last week, and when we picked this one, I'm like, oh, good, I like it. But I was a little like, oh man, I'm the like, picking a comic book movie podcast and like just being the first one to do that. I was like, man, I don't know if I wanted to been the first one to pick one. And I was so first. I'm going to get this joke out of the way, that I've been telling everybody all week, which is just I am not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it's wrong. What I am saying is I get why the people of Salem did all that, because witches are fucking scary, man. Like that's if I was them, I wouldn't be fucking around either. I'm taking whatever precaution I need to be safe. That's terrifying. Give me his dad a horse? Are you kidding me? I'm burning them all. I know none of them really burned in Salem, but you know what I mean. Like I'm not getting rid of them.
You have one day where you can't find your dad, and you got an extra horse shows up, and you're like,
yeah,
Pa?
yeah. But I will say one thing that made me very excited for this was because I was a little like, oh man, maybe it wasn't the right thing, and then I got a message from Brennan on Monday. Which, Brennan, if you just want to give your take here, and then I'll go a little further in.
Yeah, no, I had to message Josh just because I was like, I'd watched I think Saturday or Sunday night, and I was like, I'd seen the 2004 version, and I loved that version. I fucking loved this movie. I loved this movie so much. If it wasn't for the fact that I had a limited rental date, on that when I rented on Amazon, I would have watched it a second time, I think, because I really enjoyed it that much. It was like, it was just a. It felt like when I look back, it feels like the 2004 feels like a mainstream version. And this one feels a little grittier, a little more like what I would imagine true to a comic book. I feel like I've never seen a movie really even like this in terms of superhero comic book movies. But yeah, I got more to say, but yeah, you go on.
Yeah, I want to roll that into. So there's a quote from Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, who is a writer on this movie, where he said, there was a moment in filming the second film where I said to Guillermo del Toro, Hellboy wouldn't do that. And del Toro said, this isn't your Hellboy, it's my Hellboy. And on one hand, I fully get, if you're directing a movie, that is your vision. Even if he changes stuff, he's making that movie. And especially someone like Guillermo del Toro, it's like, you give him the benefit of the doubt. This movie, straight up, the script might as well have just been the comic book. There are some differences. Joe is not a character in the comics, and I think Joe works well as sort of like an audience foil to be like asking the questions that we might need to know. Even things as far as like the cutaway where the witch teaches you how to make witch balls, straight out of the comic.
Love it.
The comic starts with the family finding or the talking about the child who is frozen solid. And from there, genuinely, word for word dialogue. Like everything is exactly straight out of the comic book.
It's very believable when I look back at his character and his reactions, how stoic he was, and just kind of relaxed in a way that he was. Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah. I think that this, and again, it's easy to say when it's straight up word for word from the comic book. This is one of the best examples I can think of looking at a character on a page and being like, we're going to take you off the page and put you in this movie. It is exactly how he speaks, the way I always read him speaking. It's just I think what's his name who actually played Hellboy, Jack Kesey.
Oh, Jack Kesey.
I think he nailed it. This is when I hope to get a sequel. I don't think we're going to get a sequel. This is a super divisive movie. It's sitting on Letterboxd. It's at a 2.3 average, which admittedly is lower than I would like to see it. I think Rotten Tomatoes, it's like a 40%. It does seem like comic readers give it higher scores. Typically, again, I do admit that CGI Spider is atrocious, but I can look past that for the rest of the content that I get. And the Spider is also not in the comic book. And that was just a way to sort of get them into the hills, which I don't think they really needed even. But yeah, I'll open it up. Chad, I'll get your thoughts here because we know Brennan's first.
I got a lot to say.
I actually enjoyed this. I wouldn't consider myself arachnophobic, but when the spider's bigger than me, I do get a little creeped out. So this is born of the Lord of the Rings spider. That was a childhood trauma
Fair.
that I need to deal with. Yeah, there was a couple of like kind of creepy things with the Crooked Man. Like, why does he do that with his head and neck? I don't understand.
Because he's the Crooked
Man.
Man.
It's crooked. It's very
well on the nose with that one.
And I kind of realized, I don't know if it was about halfway through or a little bit before that, I was like, this is Tom's movie, really? Like he's the one with the arc. He's the one that, you know, has a change to him. And it seems like he's the one who like brings the plot along, which I think is an interesting choice, and I kind of digged it. The actor who plays the one witch, the kind of
Cora or Ellie?
Ellie,
the blonde.
Yes.
I was gonna say something about her too.
I think
Effie,
she's
sorry.
awesome. I think she's awesome. I think that, you know, she could be
scene stealer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I like all the characters. The preacher was pretty awesome. I did see a review that was like, once they go into the mines, the plot kind of loses it, and I was like, well, kinda, but I don't know. I felt like they needed something to do, and they that was fine enough with me. I kind of would like a sequel to this. I feel like there's more stories between Joe and Hellboy. I do kind of not like the fact that they're like kind of at the end it's kind of a romantic sort of thing between them. I'm like, why does every male female character need to be romantically involved? Can't we just have some friends in life? But other than that, I had a good time.
Yeah, as far as the going in the tunnels, that's another thing that was not in the, because Joe again wasn't in the comic. They don't go in the tunnels underneath, and I'll say the ending is a lot, maybe less climactic. It's just they go to they basically kill the Crooked Man, and then go up to his house, return the bone, and then his whore, sort of like the movie, just sort of disintegrates. And then it's over. So I think, yeah, like you said, they were looking for something to do, and they were just trying to add a little more action to the final climax. Whether it needed it or not, I could take it or leave it either way, but I'm fine with what we got.
I really enjoyed this one. As I was saying, my cousin Andy, it was funny, he hit me up actually in the past week or so, which I haven't talked to him in a while, so it's kind of interesting because he got me actually the copy that I still have of the 2004 Hellboy when I probably was around 10-ish, maybe. It was probably right when it came out, because that was 2004. I would have been 10. So yeah, so he got me that copy, and that was when I had like a little mini DVD player, and it was in my sleeve. It was one I always had on. It was in my sleeves, and I always loved Ron Perlman is fantastic in it. I don't think I ever saw really the full second one all the way through. I think it was I think I saw it was more of like, oh, it was on if we had Stars or Showtime that weekend and it was on, like I caught bits of it, that's kind of how I did a lot of before all the streaming night stuff. It was, you could just find shit, and that's my boot. I'm gonna be.
You'd have to wait for your dad to call and threaten to cancel DirecTV, and then they'd be like,
Yeah.
"Well, what if we give you HBO for 3 months?" And
We didn't sometimes
like,
we didn't even that. It was my dad be like, this weekend they're doing a special. They're just gonna give it to everyone. And I was like, oh really? Okay, sweet. Like we just be ready. So that's how I saw that one. And then I don't think I saw any of the David Harbour one. I remember it happening, and then like I was like, oh, I'll see that, and then just like hadn't gotten around to seeing it. I think, Josh, the description or the intro you gave to it. One second. Oh goodness. Woo! I think the intro, the prompt you gave is perfect, and I'm going to give an example why. Because it set it up perfectly to just be like, lower budget. Let's give him a little, give him a little more leeway, and ignore some of the CGI issues or whatever. I didn't think the spider was that bad personally. I didn't think, at least compared to the raccoon.
Valid.
That raccoon, and I'll get to that in a moment. But like anyway, I'll get to that raccoon in a moment. That raccoon was bad. That raccoon was so bad at question, like, why didn't you get a real raccoon? Go catch a raccoon. That would be better. Like, honestly.
Get a raccoon, put a little peanut butter in that skin suit, and let it crawl in there. Then you're good to go.
Like, but anyway, so I texted, while I was watching it, I texted my buddy, and I asked him, I said, do you like Hellboy? I said, if you do, you gotta watch this. Because this is a fucking great movie. And let me pull up his response. Because his reaction to, oh goodness, where is this at? I gotta find my dates. This is gonna take me a second. But anyway,
this really could go either way.
I'll just say this. I know from most of. He said his response was, "I do like Hellboy, and if you like the 2024 version, not only do I not think you might not like Hellboy, I'm not sure you like visual images." And he's like, because it was so, and he's just talking about how bad. Basically, he didn't make it past the spider. And I was just like, because like I said, you saying what it was, I wouldn't have turned it off anyway. That wouldn't have gotten me. But for I think knowing that though, it did it did give it a more benefit of the doubt, at least to start off. But that was his response, and I think I've convinced him to watch it again, because I was like, I think he's got to get past that, because there's more than enough moments to make up for it. I'm just gonna go into my list, because from the opening shot, I think it might not be the very opening shot, but it was like the opening screen grab with the title or whatever, with the shots of the woods and the train. I was like, I'm in. I loved that look.
And can I just add to that? I think they did a really good job, to go back to like the budget min-maxing. The setting is really great to capture the tone without having to do a lot of work on it. Like an old mining town is inherently creepy. And the woods provides a great backdrop to where you don't have to do a lot of set dressing. They can just be the woods. And these old houses can just be old houses. And it's creepy enough to match the vibe without having to do too much on.
No, I agree. And I think normally one thing I don't normally like in a film, when they have the light kind of almost washes out things, but I didn't mind it in this, because they had such a clear direction and vision for what they were doing that I just bought into it. the line "dark things called dark things," I heard it too. I was like, "Fuck, that's awesome." That is, I was like, that is an awesome line. I loved also that Asian women were more sketchy or unwelcomed than the Devil Man.
Well, they sell them on the magazine. I love that. That's
The UN
again in the
magazine,
comics
yeah, the
where they're
UN
just like, yeah,
magazine
we
is
saw
like,
you on the magazine. We know about you.
but
Just
not even
like
that though.
totally
They're like,
unfazed.
they're like the UN magazine. The people in like the hills of Appalachia, like we saw you on the UN magazine. He's like the UN magazine. Just like just the tone, the look, the feel that they're going for. The cutaway of the witch ball, how to, loved it. Like I said, along with which I'll get to in a minute, is my next one anyway. That along with the witch skin suit, I was like, it was like the raccoon was so bad that I can't forget it, but the immediate sequence of the going into it of it actually getting into the suit in the skin suit, feeling itself out was so
Watching
awesome.
like the hand slide down the arm, like you see the meat of the hand sliding into the skin was so
and like
good.
the ankle it was off. It was so great that it made me like, why couldn't you just get a fucking raccoon? How did you not do, like, you couldn't have found like raccoons, people have pet raccoons. You couldn't find someone to have a raccoon walk across the bed? What is like, it was such a cool shot that I was like, how did you have such two horrible like, I'm not even going to count the spiders that bad, but like that sequence was so amazing. It was honestly might have been one of my favorite sequences I've seen in a film. Like overall, like I just loved it. I thought it was so cool, and I thought it was something that, like, when they go in, all the shots in that witch's hut in the house, all of the moody shots of him, and then when they go and they see her skin suit on the, like, kind of like laid out and kind of folded and whatever, just on the bed, and then it fills it out. I was like, I don't, I don't watch every superhero movie or whatever, but was like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in a film, and I thought it was amazing. It reminded me of, done to the utmost, like skill, like the best version of like a sci-fi channel movie that you could see, like, like in terms of some of the vibe and the look that I was getting, especially in the beginning. The shots at the table, the first shot of the crooked man.
Just to go off the skin suit thing, it reminded me of the episodes. They're fairly early in Supernatural of the shapeshifters. Do you remember those, Josh?
I remember the episodes. I don't remember much specific about the episode, but
so when the shapeshifter changes from one person to another, they leave behind the like skin of the last person. So Dean and Sam just find these like just skins of people that they've met before, like, and it's like real, like the
that'd be dope.
On the bed, the
not like cool,
skin suit on the skin suit on the bed, but it's like in Supernatural it's a lot more like slimy and like it's a little more disgusting.
And I love that they didn't like that, like he thinks about shooting her as she's transforming, almost because he's kind of grossed out.
Yeah.
But then it's almost treated like this very vulnerable moment for her.
Yeah, I think the way they handle all of it, it's like the way they handle, because Hellboy's a very supernatural inherently character, and the way that everything is like, it's treated as like, oh, what the hell, but not like out of the realm of possibility, to where they're all just like when they get there and they see it, and Tom's just like, we'll just wait it out. She'll come back. Like like that's what happens here. That's what the witches do.
And just before that, though, I'm trying. I got the order matched up. When they see the boy, just like laying there, and just like, I don't know, just Hellboy's attitude of just being like, just how like you're uncomfortable in some weird person's house, and like this is just their custom, and you're just like, half naked boy, petrified, paralyzed on the ground. Okay, like that's just what this is what they do here. The where am I at?
Going back to the suit when she's like fully back, I think part of it is her reaction is that she's like screaming in terror. She's clearly not in a good place in any sort of state, and like I think all Tom, Joe, and Hellboy are like, okay, yep, we need to like figure out what's going on and help this person. And it wasn't like she was a witch; she was a person who's in need, and I felt that was pretty awesome.
Well, it's funny they treat being a witch like just kind of like as like some. I guess there's an example like almost like prostitution, just like something you did, just like something you got into that was like, I get you, that like every time Tom's character brings up that like I don't think I'm a witch, Hellboy's it's like this. Like I'm not commenting. Like I'm just like like it's just like
sounds kind of witchy what you did.
That sounds like something. That sounds like something that you're working on. Just like this, like just like let him have his moment. Whenever he was talking to himself or talking about it. But and like I said, I didn't put enough. The hanging shot, the one hanging shot they had of underneath, looking at the feet, looking up. I just thought that was awesome. Leia McNamara, she's the one who played Elfie, killed it. I mean, like everyone was so good, so it wasn't like like she stood out to the point where it was like people looked bad. It was just that she did stand out though, of like she like I said, complete just scene stealer. The voice, the accent, when they have her upside down, talking to him. When she starts flying, no, I loved it. They turned his dad into a horse. When he calls him salt of the damn earth. I loved the cross shovel. I thought that was so cool. And then my last thing that I wrote down, which I just loved, which was to beware I'm a witch, which they put on the horse at the end. I thought that was great. I found this movie was like perfect in ways of like the perfect amount of exposition. Not too much to where you're going to start noticing it. And you're going to be like, oh my God. But like enough to be like, because I'm like, I got to know the lore. I need more. Give me more. They just kept feeding a little bit, and I really enjoyed this one.
What really helps with that is the fact that we have Joe as the audience, like, to be able to ask, like, well, what is this and what is this? And because of the nature of Hellboy, it's just like, what is that? It's a witch ball. Nasty shit. And it's like, oh, perfect. We don't need to be like, and obviously that's not the best example because we get the cutaway, but it's not like, what is this? Oh, it's the lucky bow. It's not like, and it works through this, and this is what causes the luck, and you can activate by doing this, and this, and this. It's just like a quick, like, this is what it is. And then you're like, oh.
And they don't even show a witch who's in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just completely separate, kind of like.
I sent in our chat, and I'll throw them up on screen, a couple like panels from the comic book, including the witch ball cutaway. But then there's another, like a great line when you mentioned the first time you see the Crooked Man, and I sent the panel with it. I love when Hellboy's commenting on like, you don't seem like freaked out or whatever. And Tom goes, no, I've seen the devil and he don't look anything like you. Is like, that's such a good line. And like leading into like learning about his deal, but just like the confidence he have of like, I've seen real evil and I know whatever you got going on is not that.
I'm looking at the art. Looks very, even this raccoon looks better. They could have put this one in and I would have been like, that's a good looking raccoon.
But yeah, I just again, like to the prompt, I think a lot of time in low budget things too, you're going to get more projects that are purely like passion projects.
Mm-hmm.
Because anyone will direct a $300 million Hellboy movie. Like of course you're gonna take it. You don't need to love or hate it. If you're given a budget and a property, like you're gonna do it. Something like this, you can tell. And again, the writer of the creator of the comic, I don't know if he got credit for writing this. I don't know if he was on in like, oh, I wrote the script for it, or if he just gets writing credit because they straight up used word for word the comic book. I meant to look into that, and then I didn't. But in fact, let me quickly look into that.
He probably get like the writer would probably get an adapted by type thing or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No,
so yeah, screenplay by him. So he definitely was a part of it. Which is another thing is awesome to watch him get to after seeing the thing done and again straight up being told by the director like it's great you made him, he's mine now. To be able to be like, well, let me make my vision of the character, how I created him, how I wrote him. Let me bring that to life. And I again, this is very divisive. People fucking hate this movie. And sure, if you were expecting like a big budget, if you were only familiar with Hellboy through the first two movies, I can see being like, well, what the hell is this? But the grounded story, the fact that they cut the budget and we're like, we're not going to tell this huge action set piece. We're going to tell this little drama between a guy struggling with the guilt of what he did and how it affected those around him, and him trying to come to terms with that and make peace and make things right. And Hellboy's just going to be along for that guy's ride, like along for the ride and assisting as they go through. I think is such a smart way to do this character, and I love the way they execute all of it.
This is actually, people know this. This might be why people are so upset with it. It's actually a sequel to Yellowstone. They call him Thomas, and that's Jimmy. So that's Hellboy's in Yellowstone. So that's what's really a crossover. People, that's why people were so that's why it's so divisive. You got the Yellowstone crowd. People are like, where's Kevin Costner? And but I don't know. I've never been into comic books. I'm not like against comic books. Like I just never really had them. This looks really dope though. This looks awesome. This artwork. But I just, like I said, I thought, it was it felt like a very grounded, kind of gritty story that I don't feel like I normally would get. Like, I feel like, and this might have even happened in the 2004 one, or something close to it. You would have gotten anyone out, this was a studio, like, or not but this was like your mainstream Hellboy, you would have gotten a Skybeam at the end. He would have fought a Skybeam in some regard.
It's true.
And I'm fairly certain he fought a Skybeam technically in the 2004 one. A Skybeam was involved. So
speaking of comparing it to the 04 one, though, I like the way they addressed the origin of Hellboy, where they're like, yeah, we'll tell you a little bit about it, but it was really just him being tormented and like having to relive that moment without being like, all right, now we're gonna do the whole origin of Hell and like how he came to be. You're just like, it starts, oh, it's Hellboy. He's already been Hellboy for a long time. He's doing his Hellboy thing. Yeah, there's the great line at the beginning where the older soldier who was there just to die is like, it was a matter of getting the heebie-jeebies. And just the moment I knew I liked the characterization, just the way he says, I am the heebie-jeebies, and goes back to what he's doing, I'm like, I'm in. Like, hell yeah.
I think, like I said, knowing it was a lower budget, I think it helped a little bit, but at the same time, like I said, I think when you compare the budgets, this was in 2024, it was a $20 million budget compared to the 2004 version, which is a $66 million budget. So that's like what, 3.4 billion today or something? I don't know.
On the low end.
So I don't know. I just, and especially when it's like, if I'm thinking back in this movie, and I wouldn't say like, I don't think the spider's really an issue, personally, but like, if you really just change out that raccoon, like I don't really think, like I said, it's the spider is just a thing that gets the story going, and then it's something small that happens just to wrap it up at the end. Kind of more clean up loose ends. You know, um, so I don't know. Like I said, I hope my buddy watches it again. I know I'm going to watch it again because I honestly think watching the '04 version made me appreciate this one a little bit more. But I don't think you need to. Obviously, I don't think you need to watch any other version to just watch this to enjoy this one. And I think I would say I like this better than the '04 version.
The early ones also hold a special place in my heart. I do really love the Ron Perlman ones too. I have to agree. This is my favorite Hellboy movie because, again, I think they just nail Hellboy as a character, and it's the same reason. Like another hot take that we might come back to later on. I prefer the Batman to the Dark Knight because I think it's a better characterization of Batman. I think the Dark Knight, you could argue, is a better movie, and I wouldn't disagree with that. But as far as like, I want to see the character I love, and I think the Batman just nails it to a better extent. The same way the Crooked Man nails Hellboy more than the. Although the 04 one gives us Abe Sapien, and I enjoy that a lot. But
no, Ron Perlman and Doug Jones absolutely kill it. It's a great. It doesn't nothing to take away from the '04 version. The '04 version's great.
Yeah,
but like I said, this one just like I said the '04 version feels like a great mainstream version of Hellboy. I feel like that you would enjoy. That would be maybe a little bit different than your average superhero movie, and this one was just like I said, just a much grittier, more since like more true take on the character. It felt like just more like like I said, it felt more like this felt more like a comic book story in the best way possible. Like it just felt like I said, it felt like a story that you wouldn't see any of this in a Marvel movie. No, I enjoyed it.
I just saw something unfortunate. I did the inflation calculator. In 20 years, if you took that 66 million budget in 04 and put it up against the $20 million 2024 budget, that 66 million is equivalent to $109,600,000 in 2024. So basically, it was $80 million more to do the 04 version than this one. Yikes. Times are bad.
Not gonna say it.
I keep thinking of the from Anchorman, the quote, Bob Dylan sang, "The times they are changing." Ron Burgundy never heard that song. Yeah. But
do we want to do some ratings here?
I almost opened with the rating a 5. This is a 5 for me. Yeah, no, this is a 5 for me.
I'm on the fence. You know what? Fuck it. I like this movie enough. I'll give it a 5 too. I was gonna go like 4.5, but like when I talk about it, there's nothing I really have negative to say other than the CGI, and I'm not gonna hold a budget against a film. Like they did everything they could with the budget, and I have no complaints with it.
The witch skin sequence, the some of just the shots in general, the Crooked Man, the way they shot him in general. Ella, I forgot. I can't say her name right.
Effie?
Elfie, yeah. Leah McNamara being just fantastic, and we haven't even gotten to how great Hellboy was. So like I said, I gotta give it a 5. I really loved this one. Like I said, I was like, I almost texted you like that night or the day after, but I was waiting, and then I was like, no, I'm doing it. I really, like I said, I'm sure I'll be watching this one, especially around Halloween. I'll probably put it on because it's just the vibe, the tone, and it was nice to see, from the actor from from Yellowstone. He was great in it too.
I'll go with a 4, and it's mainly because of the spider being bigger than me.
Can't give it too much satisfaction.
Yeah.
You can't have it all, giant spider.
We don't want to. Well, we also don't want to reward filmmakers for doing a giant spider. So if this deters anyone in the future, Chad's 4.
Yeah. So, Brennan, what do you got for us for next week?
So, my prompts. I'm kind of winging these a little bit. Not very good prompts. I have movies written down. I'm trying to think of a prompt for them. An indie film that I'd like to revisit, where it was it had a short, which I don't think I've seen the short, but which was written, directed, and acted by the same person, both the short and the feature. It was from 2018. A Tom Hanks movie, a movie with Tom Hanks that I miss. I miss this Tom Hanks. And I think one of my favorite Joe Pesci roles that that's maybe the most underrated one too. I don't know. Not very good prompts, but I think the movies are going to make up for it. I think they're good movies.
Chad, do you have any initial thoughts?
I could use a Tom Hanks film right now. So.
I was between that one and the indie movie, so I'm fine with.
It's a good summer movie too, the Tom Hanks one. So it is like right around that time of year though too. So it'll be fitting. Do I do the Tom Hanks one? I'll tell you what the indie one is in case you want to just watch it yourself, Josh. Because I think you'd like it too. Oh, that's my dog. I was like, Jesus Christ, it's in the house. The Burbs.
Oh, nice. There's a show about that. There's a show with, I think, Kiki Palmer.
I heard about there was a show. I keep forgetting about it. I should check that out.
I think we've talked about this show on here before.
I know because I brought it up before. It was a prompt before. It's a nice little. Basically, Tom Hanks lives in a cul-de-sac, and he thinks his new neighbors might be murderers, might be satanic murderers. And it's like him and a couple other people in the cul-de-sac think this, and they're just paranoid. And it's a fun little comedy that I don't know. Like I said, I love Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks movies. Obviously, his range and his roles and what you see him as are going to change as he ages. But it just feels weird. See all the stuff he's done, and then seeing him and going back and seeing him in this. When I think about it, it just feels like, what happened? What happened to you, Tom Hanks? What happened to this Tom Hanks? I don't know. Anyway, the other two movies, the one indie movie, Thunder Road.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
I initially thought you were talking about Whiplash, and then you said 2018, and I was like, well, that can't be right.
And then the Joe Pesci one is My Cousin Vinny.
The Joe Pesci one is Goodfellas again.
It's good.
I thought it was going to be Casino, and I was like...
It's really good way to pick. Yeah, it's a good thing you to pick Goodfellas again because...
I've heard of Thunder. I meant to watch Thunder Road.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's like, I believe it's, if I recall, it's about, he's like a cop, and I think his mother dies, and like he just isn't he's like a single father, I think, he's just not handling it well. He has like a moment where like he breaks out into like some weird like eulogy dance at the funeral or something. It's kind of like
this is one of those movies that I've seen, a 2-minute TikTok clip on that cuts out right before the scene that I really want to see. And then I'm just like looking through, like, come on, just show me the thing. But no one posted it, so I got to watch the full movie eventually.
It's worth a watch. It's definitely worth a watch. I probably got to rewatch it soon because I saw it when around the time it first came out, right? And I enjoyed it. I probably should watch the short too if I can find it. But yeah. So The Burbs. This is also one that, like I said, if we're in terms of this is one of those movies where it's like this might be the first dark comedy I've watched. It might be maybe a Mel Brooks one might take the play. You want to say Blazing Saddles or maybe Young Frankenstein. I don't know if Young Frankenstein anymore. It's more of a parody. But this might be the first dark comedy I ever watched. And it was just one of those movies where it was like, it was a staple in my house growing up. It was one we just always watched. Quotes like, Art's got a gun, or like, you mean like grave robbers, grave digging? Red Rover, let Ray go on over. It's a great film. I enjoy it. And it's the time of the year for it. But yeah. Next week.
No, yeah. Well, we look forward to talking with you about The Burbs, our media mashup, and whatever segment I pick for next week. Maybe I'll have Chad waste more of our time. Maybe I'll facilitate something different or new and exciting or potentially bad. I don't know. I'm gonna have some misses here, so maybe I'll get one out of the way early here. Be the first real crash and burn segment we have. But
no, I
until
did
then,
that.
No. Until then, we will be probably still here. I lost my train of thought with the ending here. Whatever. I've been Josh.
And I'm changing my name to Sin Ministry.
Ooh, it's open now. It's available.
And I've been Brad.
And I'm Chad.
We'll see you next week for The Burbs.